Yay.
Hey.
Hi.
Tasha and Josh, you haven't seen us for a while. We've been
Busy.
crazy busy, and we had some life altering activities.
You want to tell
If you don't know, both my parents died in a period of 5 months. It's okay. They were older. They wore their bodies out.
They lived great
They
lives.
They lived great lives. They achieved tremendous success in their life. And but now we're dealing with the settling of their estate. My brother and I are executors on the will. We are dealing with probate. It's uncharted territory.
I was going to say, unless somebody has given you some primer on, or if you've had a friend or a close family member who's been through this process, which we have not, you don't know what you don't know. And I think I said to Gus, this is a job that you've been given that you don't necessarily have the skills for, nor do you really want the job.
One step.
Nor do you really
full-time job.
At least it starts that way.
It started as a full-time job. It was taking a lot of hours of my life for quite a period. And just we're sitting here today, June something, end of June, and this kind of took place in February. And we traveled.
Good to be back.
We traveled a few times during that time for both pleasure and action. We didn't travel for pleasure. No, what am I talking about? We traveled for business. We traveled. We were going quite a few weeks for business. I looked at our trip to Europe with kind of pleasure, but it was still business. I mean,
it was definitely business. Well, it's good that, which makes it why it's so great that we do.
Yeah. So anyway, today we're going to talk about getting out of your comfort zone.
Woo! Go ahead.
I relayed a story to Ashley last night. I couldn't believe we've been together over 15 years now, and I couldn't believe I hadn't told her this story. So when I was 14, I had a paper route. A lot of kids, that was the thing to do. That was before the internet and 24-hour news and everything like that, before CNN. Probably right about the time of CNN. And anyway, I was making like a whopping $19 a week, and that sucked back then. It's still, it was not a lot of,
sucks.
It was not a lot of money back then, and I was working about an hour, 7 days a week for that $19. So it turns out, so we had these contests, and again, I'm 14 years old. I lived in the Philadelphia area, I lived in Bucks County. We had these contests, and if you sold whatever it was the newspaper was selling, this happened to be the Bulletin. I sold some insurance packages. I don't even know what freaking insurance was at the time. So service to the customer. If they sign up, you get charged. You'll charge them an extra $1 something a week, and you'll be good to go. Well, it was a contest. And the contest was to win Flyers tickets. Big deal. Get a pair of Flyers tickets. Me and my dad could go to the game. Yeah.
Tell everybody who the Flyers are.
The Philadelphia Flyers. I'm sorry, the Philadelphia Flyers NHL hockey team. NHL hockey team, the Philadelphia Flyers. So I won the award, and then I didn't get the prize.
So, why didn't you get the prize?
Shady dealings with the circulation team at the Bulletin, the Evening Bulletin of Philadelphia at the time. I think I would call it.
So the person who promised it to you really wasn't in a position to give it to you?
I know, he probably took the tickets himself.
Oh,
that was commonplace. No, just the opposite. Nice. He had the tickets, he just didn't give them to me. But on top of that, he informs me that I had been collecting the money, and I was not getting, the money was not, I was collecting more money, or not giving enough money to them for what was due. So all of a sudden, this $19 goes down to $14 a week.
And that you were getting from him.
That I was getting from, I would collect the money.
Right.
On circulation. I guess some of the people mailed it in.
Okay.
But I would collect some of the circulation. This is what and then he's like, now what's left over for me at the end of the week is $14, 7 days a week. So I'm making $2 a day. So
$1 work each day.
Yeah, basically $2 a work each day. So anyway, so this is the first time that I, business-wise, I stepped outside of my comfort zone, and I don't know even how I did this. It's just intentionally took out. I know how I did it. It was
Yeah.
important to me that I was spending all those hours, 7 days a week. I couldn't go do certain things my friends were doing, couldn't go on overnight trips, all this stuff for $14 a week. It was a value equation for me. I'm just realizing that right now. That was the problem. It was a value equation.
There you go.
So I called this guy up, and let's just say his name was Joe. I think it was Joe. But I called Joe up, and I said, "I'm no longer going to be able to deliver your papers." And he starts getting all flippy on the phone, and he's yelling at me. I said, I feel as though you're ripping me off. I was making $19. Now I'm making $14, $6. Whatever it was, $5 difference, and I feel like I'm being ripped off. So I quit. Now, on top of that, I think I was getting an extra dollar a week because my house was the newspaper drop-off site where all the other kids that came and picked up the papers. So it was like 7 kids come to my house. The bulletin truck would go there and drop like God knows how many papers, a lot of them. But anyway, so I told him, I said, I'm not delivering your papers anymore, and that starts now. The papers are in the driveway. You're no longer allowed to have these papers in my driveway. Now, I didn't know this to be true. I didn't know my parents would say it. Obviously, my parents' house wasn't my house. And I said, they have to be gone. The papers don't be delivered here, and you have to go run this route. So I'm not doing it anymore. I was 14. I don't know how old Joe was. He had to be at least in his 30s or 40s. And that was the first time I really stepped out of my comfort zone as a business decision making process. Anyway.
I love that story.
Well, kind of. I was bullied as a kid. Younger than that, I was bullied, and I had to learn to stand up for myself. And a liability and an asset, but it taught me some things and served me well over the years. That when I don't like a situation or I feel as though the situation is unfair, I will get out of the situation.
Right.
You know,
Good stuff.
what's your stuff? What do you
I
think?
like it. Well, I was thinking back many years ago. My parents were really outgoing, and they both had businesses that required to be somewhat outgoing to build their businesses. I was not outgoing. I was actually, I mean, unless I was in a very specific situation, I was incredibly shy. And I really didn't reach out to people that I didn't really know. It just wasn't something that I did. And if my mother would say like, "Well, get on the phone and ask, or call such and so and ask them to do this," and I'm like, "What?" Like who would do that? And the thought of it was just terrifying to me. So as I was growing up, my dad was very involved with my brother's Boy Scout troop to the point where he actually became the scoutmaster for my brother's troop for years. In fact, I think he was still involved with it after my brother left for college in some capacity. He was doing something, and maybe I just felt a little jealous that he was getting a little more time with my dad, and I was trying to get my mom like, "Hey, look, scouting is such a great experience for kids. It exposes them to a lot. It gives them a good structure. I'd really like to have a Girl Scout group here." Growing up in my little neighborhood, and my mother had tried to take over or be like a co-leader with someone, and unfortunately
I love your mother. I don't see your mother
you
doing
don't
well
see
in
my
that role.
mother doing.
There was
she
rules and regulations.
yes,
They had like a leader. They had like a
yeah,
scout
they
leader in the
had a
handbook. I don't
book.
see your mother
She
like,
was probably not the one to read the book, but
or she changed it.
she
Like,
was a co-leader for a year with one of my friend's moms, and it just didn't work out well. And the issue was really that my grandmother had been sick, so my mother was jumping in to help take care of her, and as she was running her business. So as disappointing as I found that, I think my mother finally said to me, "Hey, look, I just don't have the time that I wish I could to put into this." And I was so eager, like the outcome was so important to me to have a troop, because without it, I mean, so the first thing I did was I called the county troop, Girl Scouts thing, and I said, "What do I need to do to have a troop here?" And they said, "You need a leader." I said, "Okay, what does that leader need to have?" And they went through, and I picked up the phone. I asked my mom, "Can you give me Kathy's number?" And Kathy was a woman who had lived next door to us for years when we were little. And I said, I'm just going to ask her if she wants to do this. And I look back now and I think, man, that was balls.
That was pretty impressive.
I didn't even, but I was so eager to have that outcome that I was willing to make phone calls that it made me really, I didn't think about how uncomfortable I was because I wanted the outcome that much, but it made me realize over the years that if I really wanted something, it was worth putting myself in a situation of being uncomfortable to do it. So there you have it.
You told me this
I
story.
was probably like,
but I don't remember Kathy. So here's a.
I never told you that story.
What happens when you break in movies or things? What happens when like the person talks to the camera, talks to the thing, and breaks the scene? What do you call it? The fourth dimension,
the third wall, or
third wall.
fourth
So
wall.
we're gonna break the third wall right here. Ashley, you're sitting too close to me because for editing, move over just a teeny bit. Yeah, for editing, it'll be easier to edit if we're separated. So anyway.
But he got me this really cool shirt.
We got new swag. Hopefully we're not backwards to you guys.
Oh, I don't know.
We're backwards to ourselves. So I got the events guy. We got some events guy swag. We got some advanced team performance. Advanced team performance is our company. It's it encompasses two different businesses. It's our health and wellness company, and it's also the company that we do coaching and training on. Yeah, Ashley and I, over the last 6 years since COVID, we do more of our own in-person and online training sessions, especially in leadership and
it's interesting. This is a great topic for us to talk about because we host a program called the Advanced Leadership Program for Women in Utilities, and that's also interchangeable with women
energy and entrepreneurship.
Women in entrepreneurship. So obviously, getting out of your comfort zone is something that's talked about a lot at our events. And the funny thing is, when we reached a point with our events, and I'm like, we're telling people to do this, but we're not telling them how. Like, we're not giving them this is how you do that.
This is how you do it.
Anyway. But this is something that we've started doing with our workshops. They're 2-day workshops. They're intense. But and it's about getting that dose of motivation and inspiration and advice.
It's interesting.
But you also need to know, like, well, okay, she said to do this. How do I actually do this? So we're really talking today about how to get out of your comfort zone. Like,
Ashley's reading a great book right now that I read a few years ago. She's in the middle. Actually, she's reading. We listen to everything.
Listening to it
on
audiobooks.
It's called The 5-Second Rule
by Mel Robbins.
By Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins. If you're into,
if you're breathing and on this planet, you've heard of Mel.
She had a number 2 podcast last year.
That's what I mean.
She's number 2 podcast behind Joe Rogan last year.
She has blown up.
She really has. But the 5-second rule is basics. If I get this right, is basically you're living in the moment and you're living 5 seconds at a time. And I don't even know if you got to this point in the book yet. You really know this. I'm not going to spoil it, but the book is called The 5-Second Rule. You can get it on Amazon, and probably most of your. If people still go to bookstores. I don't know who goes to bookstores. Put your hands up.
I was going to say we don't have a bookstore near them.
But I did find out. Yeah. Or at least for me, I can read faster than I can listen.
Well, okay. Sure, yeah. No, most people can't.
Is that weird?
No, it's not weird.
Like I can plow through.
The thing is, though, when I'm on, I can't take a book with me while I'm on my walk.
You can.
So
it's just dangerous.
I listen to it. You can't, right?
You're painting yourself into a corner now.
I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, you're out of your comfort zone. Take 2 books.
Okay. That would be even more dangerous. So, but the 5-second rule and I will spoil this because it's not a surprise, but it's about sort of the amount of time that your brain and emotions take to tell you why you can't do something. So the point is, within 5 seconds, if your heart and your emotions say, yes, I want this, I want to do this.
You need to get further along in the book.
It's if you wait a little longer, the reason why you hesitate is because your brain is now coming in and saying, no, you can't, or you shouldn't, or this could hurt you, or blah, blah, blah. So it's about making a decision and getting into action very quickly. So we are all about getting into action. So
Sometimes it's a liability. It's an asset and a liability.
but it's rare that you find people at the end of their lives where they say,
I-
"Oh, I wish
I did
I
too much."
hadn't done that." What they usually say is, "Oh, I wish I had done more. I wish I had listened to my gut. I wish I had gone for it." So that's what we're here to try to
Part of the reason I'm an entrepreneur,
push ourselves to
Or-
go for it.
part of the reason I'm self-employed, my father, as wonderful as a man he was, as respected as he was, especially in his industry, he would often say to me that he wished he would have stepped out of his comfort zone.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he.
I know that he
He did
didn't
not.
love his job.
He didn't love it. He didn't love the position he was in. It was a very difficult. He did very well. He was a leader of an oil company, and with hundreds and hundreds of employees. He did very well for himself. But he also.
Wished he had
He worked very hard.
He did.
He worked.
But he didn't love what he was doing. So
Right.
I mean, even though he was really good at
And
it,
his twin brother, Art, was a
he was
successful entrepreneur.
He was they were like opposite.
Oh my gosh, so opposite.
And when you talk about how different what they were, so let's just jump back really quick. Your comfort zone is where you are comfortable. It is the actions, the routine, the just familiar routines, low risk, predictable results. It keeps you safe, but it also keeps you stagnant. And if you want to grow, you need to nudge yourself out of that comfort zone. And it's
Grant Cardone posted
uncomfortable
something today.
Sometimes, because and that's when you know you're in growth mode, if you're actually pushing yourself to be uncomfortable. So
Grant posted something today that I reposted. Oh man, where is it?
So today was a departure for me because I listen to Grant almost every single day. And this morning I finished one of his books and I said, I'm going to listen to this 5-second rule stuff because I've heard Mel Robbins, just the jam. So now I'm checking it out.
Now you're listening to Mel Robbins, and you didn't get the fact that you're talking about the sort of teeny bit of negative on the book. You didn't get far enough from it yet.
What do you mean it's negative?
Like you're talking about how your brain plays tricks on you, or tells
your brain tells you not to do stuff because it's trying to help keep you in your comfort zone.
Right, but
it's okay.
When you get further through the book, you'll understand where
the brain science comes in, or
where the 5-second rule is actually an accelerant to your life.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I bought a business. I was reading the 5-second rule. I bought a book. I was hesitating on something, and
why am I hesitating?
Why am I hesitating? I said, "This is the 5-second."
We
saw Grant do that too when he bought Tommy Hilfiger's house.
Yes, live.
We watched him make a $25 million deal.
Watch it on Zoom or something. Yeah. So anyway, these are a couple of examples of how we stepped out of our comfort zones very early in our teen lives. And the key to it, I think, is building the muscle to constantly and have it become routine that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, because that's how you'll always be in growth mode.
Yeah, right. And one of those comfort zone. One of the things I have and developed this over the years is I can get very to the point real quick, especially in business decisions. I was on a meeting yesterday. I was telling Ashley that we were about 5% into the about 5% into the presentation, and about a half hour into a what was supposed to be a half-hour call, and we went longer. And I just said, "Hey, let's just get down to brass tacks here. I've seen enough to make a decision.
There you go.
And it wasn't necessarily a buying decision, but it was enough to make a decision and move the ball forward. So that's what we did, and we're going to do business together. It's kind of cool, but
you didn't need 90 or 39 slides or.
Seen enough, yes. You don't have to give me the full presentation. You go to the restaurant. Yeah, you go to the restaurant. You're at a steakhouse. I'm probably getting a ribeye or New York strip or a cap steak or something like that.
Right. You're gonna stop and listen to the special. You're probably gonna get the one.
Dude, don't.
I'm good.
I'm done. I'm good. I know what I want. you know,
cool.
bring me another
I
martini.
like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's fun too about us is that you know, Gus will come to me with some crazy idea, and I might think it's crazy, but it's enough for me to just go, okay, like what if? Like let's play this out. Let's give that a try. And I probably come to you with a couple of ideas too, and we just sort of bounce them off each other and see how we can support each other
Yeah,
on the upside of those.
and if you don't,
ideas,
you know, if you
so.
guys, if you're new to us or even our close friends, I'm very data driven. I was a petroleum engineer by trade, so right.
Yes.
So, but a lot of times when we're making a decision,
Well,
I
yeah,
put numbers behind it. And
absolutely.
like, how do we make sense of these numbers? How can we make sense? And a lot of times, it's a for something to be successful, everything has to work, and rarely does that happen.
Sure.
Every number
But
has to be.
what we have learned
Yeah.
is that I mean, so one of the things that we've learned, or I've learned more, especially lately, is that if you want a particular outcome, it's going to take probably at least 10 times more of the effort
The 10x rule.
to put into it. It is the 10x rule, and I will say this. Yes,
it proves itself
it
over and
does.
over and over.
But here's the fun thing is first, if the result is something you really want, go for it. And secondly, the effort isn't necessarily like hard work, difficult. It's just more effort.
The results
And
tend to
when
be.
you start doing it, like for me, like I need to get on the phone. If I want what I need for our business, I need to just get on the phone. Looking through emails does not help my cash register.
When you get
But
out,
when I get on the phone and start that process, at first I'm like, oh, but then I'm like, wait, this is fun. I love reaching out to people. I love having these conversations with people. And then the result is the result that I was looking for. So I'm like, oh, this really isn't so bad.
and you know, let's get back to your comfort zone. Your comfort zone, getting out of it, is you're fearing something. And what is that fear? And what, you know,
Yeah.
if you're in sales, the fear of being rejected. You know, what if this person doesn't like me? Or the fear might be, if I close this deal, I got more work to do.
So
I got more work.
that's something that I think people do. I will speak for myself. It's funny because the first example that I thought of on my comfort zone thing, before I realized I had that example. When I was in my early 20s, I had just graduated from college and I had just moved to Boston for a job. And I was excited to live in Boston. It's a really great city. And I had taken on this position. It was incredibly low paying, but it was kind of a starter for the industry.
Incredibly low paying.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to,
like
it was something like that. I made a little bit more than that. I made enough to be able to pay my rent barely, but it was an important stepping stone for the career trajectory that I was working towards. So, but I will tell you that like I think I had like the first 30 days or the first 90 days as my you know, like everybody has
Probation.
as a probationary period. And I was so overwhelmed, or had allowed myself to be so overwhelmed with having just moved. I didn't know anybody. My confidence level just went down. And I was like, and then I was a little pissy. I'm like, I'm doing this job. I'm a sales assistant in a hotel, but it's basically like being a secretary. And I was, you know, so part of me was like, well, I didn't go to college for this. I didn't spend all my dad's money to get a degree in this, and I'm somebody's secretary, or I'm secretary for the department, but I wasn't, you know, the funny part for me was that the challenge, it wasn't a challenging position for me, but the challenge for me was getting my shit together and just showing up, working hard, being the best I could be, and showing them that I could be what they needed, what was of value for them.
At the time, things were different because you also had to stay at a job for. If you left a job prior to 2 years, you were almost unemployable in that same industry, especially in a small market, even like Boston, where there's so many hotels. everybody talks, everybody knows each
Everybody
other.
knows each other. Everybody's
Today,
so, you know,
wow, you're 2
was.
years in the same position. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Have you
Why
not
are you
grown?
still there? So, but it was interesting because I was just so in my head on like this isn't fair, or I shouldn't have to do this, or I'm not getting paid enough to bring in that much effort. Like I literally just had this cycle in my head, and my boss sat me down, and I mean, she did, yeah. She was just like, look, I just got to tell you, like this effort that you're putting in is not like we thought you would be much further along than you are, and for me that was like a huge hit to my ego and to my, but it was exactly what I needed to hear, because she's like, yeah, we're gonna let you go unless you get your crap together and you've got this much time and I know you can do it, so like let's see your best work. And I started showing up. I was early every day, I stayed late, I wore better suits, I had a better attitude, and I just threw myself into it. And I think even within the next month, my boss gave me a raise. She was like, I knew this would happen.
What was your boss's job?
Yeah, she did. She did a good job of managing me, but it was like, okay, that's exactly what I needed, and I was happy to have the opportunity because frankly, I stayed in that industry for a while, and it led me to where I am now. So I'm very happy.
It worked out.
It did. It always works out. Eventually, I got fired from that job, but not from her.
How many people out there have been fired from a job? I don't think I know an entrepreneur that
I
hasn't.
was so relieved. Were you so relieved when you got fired? Yeah.
Always.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there was more than one time.
Yeah, same. Yeah, the last job that I had, I was like, oh God.
The interesting thing is that there's some companies, and even my own businesses that I left at the top of my game, which and that really raises like, it makes people like how could you do that?
Yeah, but that's the thing is, so interestingly, I got fired from the last W-2 job I ever had. I got fired, and it was for whatever insubordination or something.
Insubordination.
And whatever. And I was just like, okay, except that in the short time I was there, the two events that I put together for them were both reached the revenue threshold that most people don't do there. Like it was the higher level one because I worked so hard at it, and I was just like, yeah, you're not telling me I don't know how to do this job. You're just telling me I never want to do it for somebody like you. So anyway, and now in that comfort zone thing, right? You stay at the job that you hate because you're like, at least I know the crap that I'm dealing with here. So I think I had enough opportunities where I had to just step out of where I was and just say, I'm not doing it this way. There's a reason why I have talent. I need to figure out a way to show it up.
I'm important, damn it, figure it out.
I know, but that's it. And sometimes you got to figure this stuff out yourself.
You always have to figure it out.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. But I mean, I guess where I was going with that is, I just feel like now, and it is because I'm older and I've had more experience with it. I feel like it's easier to find a network, right? It's easier to go on LinkedIn and say, how do I figure this out? Or is there somebody in my Facebook, friends who I can reach out to and just say, hey, this just happened to me, and can somebody just walk me through, because I've never dealt with it before. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna.
But it's like that. It's like that with anything. Think about where you are today in the world and the position you have and the position you want. Whether that's working for someone else or working for yourself, where you are. Most of us have someone who has done it before when we're moving forward. There's very few positions that are breaking new ground out there. There's some AI positions right now. I think a lot of stuff that
I think you're right.
love or hate Elon Musk, he's breaking new ground almost every day. He's doing things
that have never been done.
But there's very few people, even the people who work for him, most of them are just solving a different problem, and they're still using the same skills of coding or putting rocket fuel to go higher and faster and more cost effective, but it's the same. It's the same skill set, and someone else has already done it. So we were talking about this. I was talking about this yesterday with one of my partners. One of the businesses that we're in is successful and a lot of people have done it. And there's a lot of success leaves clues, as our
Right.
mentors talk about. And it's studying those clues.
Right. So that's, again, there are resources for you to go see what the successful people have done. And frankly, for anybody who's in a situation where they feel stuck, or I need to figure out how to get to that next level, there's no magic pill, but
I mean,
go study somebody who's doing it well. If you're in a position and you see somebody in your company who's rocking it, shadow them, study them, find out what they're doing, and even frankly, for your organization, if they need another successful person, they would be wise to ask
well,
that person to help you, because they want to have more successful outcomes at
so
their
one
company.
of the things that Ashley and I do, we have our events and we sell tickets to our events, we sell sponsorships to our events. Um, and this is what success can look like in that world. If you have 100 leads, you might get on any given day, you might be able to communicate with 6% of those leads, 6 people out of
Like an
100.
actual conversation.
An actual conversation,
Right.
or whether it be email, text, or
Right.
face to face, or Zoom. Now, at the end of the week, you've done, let's just say you've had 200 leads, so you've talked to 12 people in a day. At the end of the week, you're at 60 people, and maybe 20% of those 60 people
Are going to move forward.
are going to move forward. You're going to be
Right.
able to put a proposal to them. You're also 20% of maybe 12 people. Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah, I
20,
guess,
12
yeah.
people. You're only going to close 20% of the proposals you put out
Right.
there, which puts it down to
Yeah, it's sort of the 80-20 rule all
you know,
over the place.
is that 2.5 is more than that? It's 20% of 12, 2.4. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
2.5. So yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So you're only going to close 2.5 of those people. Over the course of 2 weeks, you close 5 of those people. But
Right.
if you want to be successful, we often hear the opposite of that. We often hear people, "Oh, I called 10 people the other day, and no one's
Nothing
doing
happened.
business with me, and I
Yeah.
feel sorry for myself." But that's what success looks like in business development or sales.
Right.
And
So I have a sticky note on my laptop that says make 100 calls a day. Or just maybe it just says make 100 calls. And it's my reminder every day. Now, do I make 100 calls? No, because when I start making those calls, somebody will call me back, or someone will pick up the phone and we have a conversation, and then I have follow up I need to do. And then I'm, asking for a referral. Hey, who else do you know who needs this? And then, you're basically building this process that's going to, keep that business going, or keep that conversation going. And then, there are days though where I'll wake up and I'll scratch my head and go, what am I doing today? And I'll see the sticky note, right? Okay, make 100 calls.
But it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, and you got to get out of your comfort zone.
It is.
And that's what we started talking about here.
It is like just picking up the phone and getting started on it is uncomfortable for me still to this day.
What do you think one of the hardest?
But I also know that when I do it, I have so much fun.
So we talked about like first time. What do you think? What are the hardest places you've been uncomfortable? Yeah, I can relate. I can give one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a car business, I had auto repair shop and car lot and detail center, and I had like 5, 6 people working for me, and we had a bad week. We didn't bring in enough revenue to cover the bills, and there's bills meaning paying my team. Uh, It was one of the few times I didn't sleep the night before.
which is unusual.
It was
for you,
unusual for me.
but
I usually can compartmentalize, is that right? Compartmentalize
yeah, you did that well.
a problem, and I can say, hey, I'm not going to worry about this till 6:30 in the morning. That was
Yeah, but this was troubling
this
you
was troubling me,
'cause it
so
was
I
the
didn't
first
sleep. I
time.
didn't sleep all night,
And honest.
and the solution that I came up with was to take two of my cars that I had, or offer two of my cars to one of my competitors for less than I paid for them.
So that you could cover
So I
payroll.
could cover payroll, which was a problem in itself because now I've taken in the car industry, your cash in your cars is an asset, and now I lowered my assets
Right,
in
so
the
that you could
business
have cash.
so that I could have cash, and I didn't have where that asset might have made me 20% on that money. I took 100% of that money off that to take it out, and I just had to
Right.
work harder in the future to move that forward. I was in my late 20s at that point. I just remember like that was a lesson to be like, don't get in this position again.
Right, right. And
That was
I mean, I can say that when when I went through my divorce, there were times where again I allowed myself to be distracted and distraught from sort of aspects of it where I felt like I needed to keep talking about it to people, and I was not focusing on getting money in the door for my business and creating the events that I had envisioned creating, and yeah, I
and
mean,
that's normal. I mean, when you're going
I
through
was, yeah, no, I mean, it is.
when you're
and
going through a
it's-
divorce, that's another thing. When you're going through a
when
divorce,
you're going through a divorce, when you're somebody in your family is sick, when there's something going on that you really need to tend to immediately, you should be focused on that. But there was a point where I felt like I need to be able to detach from this for a certain number of hours so that I can just get this done. And then I can go whine to my friends about stuff or vent to my friends. So but looking back, I was put in a situation where I painted myself into a corner, and so similar to you, where I was just like, if I had kept my eye on this, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. And I learned some pretty significant business lessons through that phase that I will never repeat because, yeah. That was more uncomfortable. Well, and that's what one of the things that I love what Grant talks about is sort of choose your hard, like getting out of your way or getting out of your comfort zone and putting yourself in growth mode is hard. It's hard to go through that moment of, ugh, I don't know how to do this. I'm not sure I know how to, I'm not confident about it, but I have to do it. And people don't want to do that. And the other side of it is you're not going to have the revenue that you need. You're not going to have the business that you
you're
need
not
to be
growing.
successful.
You're not growing your career. You're not growing your business. You're stuck where you are. You're not growing your relationships.
That feels so much worse.
Well, that's hard. That's hard to choose your hard.
But it is. It's like it's the choose your hard part, and I've added something more significant to the way when I feel like I'm not performing to my potential. I put the filter of if my kids are watching me right now. Oh, and by the way, they are. Am I being who I need to be to teach them? Like, get out there, do this, be a go-getter. If I'm not doing that myself, so that usually is what that shoves me into action. Sorry, I'm keep moving toward you.
It's okay.
I'll scoot over. But yeah, that's what gets me moving and go, well, hold on, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make sure that my business is successful, and I'm also want to make sure I'm being an example to the most important people in my life, and then our business. I mean, our whole business is talking to people and coaching them to do things that are outside of their comfort zone. So if I'm not willing to do that myself, then I'm just a big old faker.
Right? Faker.
I don't want to be a faker.
I want you to be a faker.
So cool. So what are we? The common challenges to stepping out of your comfort zone, really, it's fear, right? It's fear of failure and it's fear of judgment, which that was a big deal for me for a really long time. Now I don't give a rest behind, but at the time I was
That's
like,
the big thing.
Everybody expects me to screw this up, so why should I even try?
So
Like,
so one of those things of being judged or whatever is, and people don't care. People don't judge you. If you have people judging you,
you're around the wrong people.
You're around the wrong people.
I didn't know
And the more successful you become, the more people will judge you. But the people who are judging you are not part of your success team.
Right.
Not the people that you want to hang around.
Right. You're right.
We hang around only successful people, actually, and I do, and we tend to not engage with people who are not best in their own lives.
Pushing themselves out of their comfort zone.
How about best in their own lives? How about respecting themselves?
That's it. And if we're around people who are happier to just get by, and I've heard people say this, like, wow, you have a really lofty goal. That's great for you. I just want to be able to pay rent. And I'm like, that's totally cool. I completely get that. And I can't hang out with, I don't say I can't hang out with you anymore. But I don't, because I just feel like,
list.
What's that?
You're on the naughty list.
Yeah, no, I just feel like I can't hang out with people who, for a long time, who are in that headspace, because frankly, it pulls me down. It holds me back.
You've got one life.
Yeah. I don't want to hang out with people who've given up on their dreams. I still have mine, and I really want to make them happen.
Yeah.
And I want to teach my kids that, that same thing, right? Life is short, go for it. And if I'm not going for it, why would I expect them to? Like, that's just crappy. Yeah, you go for it. I'm tired. I'm done. I just want to make my rent. Like, okay. So anyway, what we're talking about is how to actually do that. The more it really is developing a muscle. So when you start pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and trying things that you maybe were afraid of before, it's easier the next time, every time.
So let's go back though.
Okay.
You and I have had this conversation privately a bunch of times.
Okay.
No one, when you dive deep into someone, the person we talk to who just wants to make their rent.
Yeah. They've given up on it.
No, not necessarily. There's other areas in their life that they might be focusing on that they don't even realize they're focusing on.
Okay. Talk a little more about that.
Maybe you belong to a church and you're trying to raise your status in the church, whatever that means in your church, your religion, your sect. Maybe you're trying to be the best and go to the next level.
So they are bettering themselves. Just not in that specific.
And I always talk about
I get it.
I never played Dungeons and Dragons, but
I bet you would have been really good at it.
I would have been too consumed. And,
I see. That's why I didn't get involved with it either.
But you're always trying to be a better version of yourself with that. So I used to race. I used to ski race, and in that ski racing, we had sponsorships that used to give equipment and stuff like that. And it was super cool. It was super cool. It was great. Every weekend I was racing. At one weekend in a month, I was on the hill 3 days a week. The other times I was on 2 days a week. I was racing someplace. But 5 years in, I had gotten as far as I was going to get,
right,
without spending a considerable more money
and effort,
and I was no longer skiing. I was only racing. So I was getting to the hill.
Really like just having fun.
It was no longer fun. It was 5 years in. It was no longer that fun factor had become pressure. So what I saw as a asset, happy hobby had become a liability. Now, incidentally, what happened was I quit racing and I became an instructor. And then helping other people, especially little kids, I work with little kids. Helping them learn to ski was highly rewarding.
Good.
And it was a half-hour lesson, and then I'm skiing for free
Right.
for
that.
5-6 hours
Yeah, that's
on
just
top of that, or a half hour lesson, an hour skiing, half hour lesson, an hour skiing, and
Right.
I was skiing for free, and that was I was part of the team. I got to go up on the lift by in front of the lift line because I was an instructor, right?
Yeah.
Just all those things. But that's how that changed from wanting to race to.
Well, and I love that because it also brings up the fact that, like, you're never going to do the same thing for the rest of your life, right? So you may fall into something or establish yourself in a particular position where you're like, oh my God, this is a dream. I never thought I'd be able to do something like this. But after a while, you're not getting
The dream becomes a liability.
Right, you're not getting as much fulfillment from it. You've done it, great job. It's time to do the next thing. But we can hold ourselves back by saying, oh no, I need to stay here and I need to do this.
I know.
But if that's no longer serving your mission or your purpose, you really are responsible to yourself to go and to the world. Thank you. Mankind needs you to just go for it.
I mean, it happened to me with another sport. I was a golfer.
Oh yeah.
I played high school and college golf. For part of the year, like more than 6 months, I golfed every day. That seems like I know so many people that would be the dream, like golf every day. Well, let me tell you,
it's work. It's time.
It's friends are doing this, I gotta go golf. Friends are doing that, I gotta go golf. It's freaking 35 degrees and pouring rain in Northeast, Philadelphia area. I gotta go play golf.
And it took him this long to move to Florida.
Yeah, but
he hasn't gone golfing.
I tried once, and we had lightning on the course. But even
that's right.
Even a new glove, new balls, new clubs, the whole 9 yards. I didn't get to go.
Your new balls. Let's talk about your balls.
They're white. Okay. Anyway, you brought this up. Anyway, when you have to do it every day, it's different than same thing with boating. If you're in the boating industry and you have your boat or your friend's boat and you get on the boat, what happens when you have to go on that boat 7 days a week and it's raining and you have to clean it and you got to pay somebody to clean it, or it's got a problem and now you got to fix that problem.
I got it.
It's better than the alternative, though.
Sure, but at some point you need to.
Your assets become your liabilities, and if you're lucky, your liabilities can become your assets.
So I'm going to bring up a couple of things that kept me from getting out of my comfort zone, and probably still does from time to time. So I had this thing in my head when I was younger that I had to do everything perfectly, like it had to be perfect. Well, the funny thing is, if you've never done it before, you can't achieve perfection because you have never done it before, right? You're supposed to suck at something at the beginning. And the point is, the more you do it, the better you get. So hurry up and get that part over with, but just jump in there and suck at it. But start small. So micro habits, like if you're trying to do more social media and you suck at it, or you've never done it, or you haven't done enough of it, just start posting like one reel a day. Reach out to one new prospect a day, or try a new workout every day. Like do something that you've not done before, but just start getting into the practice of doing something new.
I'm an amateur guitar player. I read this years ago. Amateurs practice to get it right. Pros practice to not get it wrong. We saw Nile Rodgers play a couple of years ago, and during that time he was on Instagram and Facebook every day, and he said, I'll never forget, he said, if I don't practice for 1 day, I notice. If I don't practice for 2 days, you notice. And it just
puts it in perspective.
It puts it in perspective. I don't have. I'll correct that. I don't make enough time to be as good as I want to be on the guitar. Though, I picked it up. I play often, but I got serious about it a couple weeks ago to get a little better, and
it's getting back.
My hands were hurting, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play again tonight, and my fingers were like, no, you're not gonna play again tonight. And it was like today was we work out 4 days a week of heavy weights, and today was leg day. Leg day is not tomorrow. We cannot go back in the gym and put
do leg day again,
400 pounds
we did it
on.
all
I put 400 pounds on leg press and try to put that up. It's not going to happen today.
Yes.
Or
And
tomorrow.
it
It happened today. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
like what's incremental versus trying something bigger. So, and it's a mindset shift. It's about saying, you know what, today I'm going to go for this, and I'm just going to keep going for it. And it can be, make it exciting, make it something fun, because frankly, it's better to lose at doing something that you're trying than it is to succeed at not doing it at all.
Here's another really good piece of advice that we've learned over the years. 2 parts here.
Okay.
Someone above you will never put you down. Your criticism comes from below.
Yes.
Also, someone above you will always be willing to pull you up. If you're not in that situation, you're in the wrong situation.
Well,
we talked about this happened at our dance conference last year.
What's interesting is that when we've said this out loud before, and people have said, no, that's not true. And to which I say, then that person is really not above you. Like, they're insecure. If they're somebody who you perceive to be above you and they're not willing to help you, or they're judging you, they are insecure, and be better. Like, they're not somebody you want to take advice from.
I had a job once. It was really unique. That I'm not going to mention what it was, because there's a lot of people out there, but if you know, you know. My boss, my direct supervisor, did not like the position I held. He was forced to have me on his team. Now, his direct supervisor, boss, director, loved me. Now, the crazy part was, my direct supervisor and I were very good friends and hung out outside of the office. But in the office,
that's a dude thing.
But in the office, it was a very I don't even know how to say, contentious.
Yeah,
it was very. I had to dance around my direct. My job was to make my supervisor and his boss look good, and it didn't always sit right with my direct supervisor. And but it was like, dude, this is the job I was hired for, and that's the job you were hired for, and we have to deal with it. And if I'm pissing you off, go talk to Mr. above us. And Mr. above us was. And the funny part was, that same scenario, that my boss had to clean up his boss's shit all the time, which was great.
Love it.
So anyway, it was just unique, and that was not an ideal environment. There was jealousy, resentment, and infighting. I think the only thing cool about that position was everybody made money,
right?
Which was cool.
That is nice.
But everybody made more money than most people make, and that was the one thing that kind of brought it the equalizer.
Well, and one of the things that we've mentioned to people is, think of someone that's doing something, they're where you want to be. Maybe not in every, and in some cases I get people who are just so like, well, there's nobody I emulate that much, and it's just like, okay,
then you're in the wrong position.
Relax. But one piece, like, who's killing it at your business or in your industry that you're just like, man, that guy's on fire. Study them. Focus on what they do. See what practices they do at. Find out if you can. Just ask them, or if they have a book, read the book. Like, what is it that they're doing, that they're bringing to their energy, to their daily routine, that you could probably take some notes from it and just give it a try. You don't have to,
there are people that I follow and consider mentors for business. I'm not really interested in like some of the ways that they do things in their personal life. That's okay. I don't need to agree with every single aspect of their life. But if I want to be as successful as they are business wise, it's a good idea for me to just go, wow, how do they do that? What do they do?
What's funny,
how do they structure their day to be that successful?
my thing. I'm a huge fan of Oprah Winfrey. I'm not a huge fan of her product and what she's done. The way she's become famous.
You don't like her show? You don't like watching her show?
I don't like.
Who has time?
No. It's not that I don't like her show. I don't like the premise of her show.
Okay.
Because she.
Don't get me in trouble with Oprah.
I'm not getting you in trouble with Oprah,
Right.
but they're not being honest.
Okay.
Or they don't spell out enough. When she gives a car away, she's not giving a car away. Somebody's spending millions and millions of dollars.
The
sponsors had to get those cars.
She brought the audience.
She brought the audience together. She brought the audience together, but when we bring our audience together and our sponsors get thrown on a pedestal at our events, and when we talk to our audience about. Yeah, the reason we're here is because they wrote that check.
I get that.
But everybody, huge fan of what she built from nothing and the empire and the billionaire that she is. She's a rock star, amazing person.
Totally. She's changed people's lives.
100%.
She's made things available to them that they didn't know that they had available to them before. And I think that's, I just love her. But yes, I mean, again, you don't have to be endeared with every single aspect of their lives, but like, let's take a page out of the Oprah playbook and figure out how to do this with our business, because she did it really well. But again, you don't have to necessarily agree with every single aspect.
I'm going to get rolling here soon, but
okay.
Understand where you are today might be a stepping stone to where you're headed tomorrow.
Yes.
I mean, one of the things we talk about, especially in our industry of the energy and utility industry, we hear sometimes complaints that, well, the CEO, if you have a 10,000 person organization, you're a person in that 10,000 person organization. There's one CEO.
Right.
The CEO's job, if it's a public company, is to convey the wishes of the board.
Yes.
And the shareholders.
They answer to somebody.
They answer to the shareholders and the board. They're not answering. But also, that one position, realistically, if you look at that person's career, whether they came from inside the organization they're in or outside the organization they're in, they probably went past, if it's a 10,000 person organization, let's just say a factor of 40,000 people that they had been through the ranks working side by side, above or around, to get one CEO job.
Right.
And do you want that CEO job? Because I guarantee you, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's probably not a lot of fun.
Not a lot of fun. Not a lot. Not all C-level stuff.
No rainbows and
they're flying on a private jet, but there's some birthday party they didn't attend.
Right. There are trade-offs.
There are trade-offs in that position. So a lot of times, even when we hear, especially in the women's events we do, I didn't get the job. Well, how many people applied for a job? And I guarantee you it was in at least 50, maybe 300. And realistically, the job itself, posting, might have been just superficial, that they had to do it and they already had somebody in mind for that job.
Right.
It's your job to be that somebody in mind
right.
for the position you really want. And you need to position yourself how to get there. If it's a job posted to be filled, it's usually not a great job.
Well, or
you know what I mean?
Or the company has to open it up to the public. It can't be like a no bid contract where they have to say, hey, we've opened this up and there may be some boss and we hear this a lot. My boss specifically encouraged me to go for this promotion and then I didn't get it.
It's
And-
developing a muscle.
But again, it's exactly, so it's like, don't take that as
Your
a
boss
failure.
puts you on the field.
It's that your boss thought you were, in a position where you should be putting yourself into this situation. That's a good thing. Take that as the learning that it is. Take it and keep developing that muscle.
In football, they often, and this is similar to that, in football, if you're on a winning team and you're winning big time,
They'll bring in
they often pull the
the
starters
second
out and put the second string, and
Yes.
that might be, and that second string or third string might not ever be a starter in the NFL.
right,
But they get the feeling of that. That's what it looks like. This is, and in a
it's like
clutch
being,
situation, we have you there. When a starter gets hurt, and we have to throw you in a critical game, just
you
to
need
hold,
to be able to perform.
we need to be able to perform. Like,
Yeah.
hey, when you're ready for that same thing, let's go back to that
Do the
promotion. You're
exact
ready for
same
that
thing
promotion.
in
You
your
need to
job.
be able to put your resume together properly. You need to be able to
Yeah.
put your value together, sell yourself to that position. What value do you bring to the organization?
And you need to ask the questions too.
No
You
one
need to
gets-
ask them, like, what do you need this position to bring, and figure out how your experience correlates.
And I'm going to
with
say
that.
this: my mind has changed from 2017 when we ran the first women's event to today. I used to think, yes, you would be promoted by doing certain things, or you would be. There's possibilities. It's almost never. You have to prove yourself. You have to come along. You have to get that, that job, so to say, and prove your value to take it over.
And you have to show up.
And the other thing.
Can I-
Yeah.
Can I jump in here? You need to do the work, but you also need to explain that you've done the work, that the work is valuable. You need to promote you need to promote yourself. You need to promote yourself and the value of the work that you're doing. Because if you don't do that, no one will just see the work being done and say, oh, wow, Ashley did that. That's
Yeah,
great.
we're told most of us.
I have to come out and say, hey guys, I did this, and here's the result that it made, and here's how it helped our organization, our team, our project, whatever. And I need to continue promoting that, or no one is going, then somebody somewhere is wrapping it up and saying, wow, Ashley's really valuable. She's done all of this. I can't expect somebody to just keep their eyes open and see that I'm doing all of this work.
And you cannot, two things that you cannot go for a job that's above your job if you're not doing your job at 100% and it's
hard.
done and
But
complete. Now,
yeah.
if you don't like your job and you don't feel like you can do it 100%, it might be time to make a lateral movement within the organization or a move outside the organization, and that's a tough pill to swallow. It's a tough call.
It's about learning that other piece that will help you propel your career forward.
You're not automatically going to get promoted because of who you are.
Yeah.
And what you've done.
Correct.
Make sense?
Yes.
Unless you're with a growing
Actually,
organization.
so can I just jump into a story? I actually saw on Facebook, I'm in a group of a certain kind of professionals who I used to be in that industry, and they were talking about how they were really good at this one thing, and they're like really good at this one element. But in order for them to move up in any of positions that they've tried to get at other property or other companies, they have to know this other piece, which she's never done. And she's in her early 30s, and she's like, I don't want to have to take a step back. And I'm just like, you're looking at this wrong, right? You need to see this as, this is the piece that's going to help me propel forward. So if it's a step back, it's a very short one, but like everybody's telling you, you have to learn this piece. So go learn it. Just go learn it. Like, it's not that hard. You'll figure this out pretty quickly. But it
happened to my
was
daughter.
interesting.
My daughter, she's working for a well-known company. She was moving up through the ranks, and she had a lot of responsibility on her plate. And they pulled some of her responsibility, and they gave her a raise.
Right.
And she's
she
like,
was
Dad, I got demoted.
I got demoted.
Like, no,
Like,
no,
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 they
no,
don't.
no,
They don't
no,
give you
no.
more money when they demote you.
Yeah, like
so they want you to focus on this and being really great
and they
at
want
this.
you, and they also
That's
want,
why they pulled stuff off.
and they also want, the other thing I said to her, and exactly what happened.
Yeah.
They also wanted her to have some freedom for new opportunities.
Right.
Now they send her around the country to train other people while she still has the main responsibility. They literally took 1/3 of the responsibility away from her.
Right. But if they
But
hadn't done that, there's
there was no way
she would be able
she
to
could do these other things and learn these other
stretch
skills.
positions,
These other these,
projects,
these other projects they put her
So,
on. So
there you go.
and they're not doing it for her.
They're doing it right.
They're doing it for the
them.
company.
It's
It's not a
it's their company, and they want to run
Yeah.
it as best they can. They want to make the most revenue. So,
Yeah, no one's going to do anything for your job. I mean, think about
for
your
you.
30-year employee who's retired. How often do you hear about that person inside your four walls anymore, other than in closed conversations of, man, I wish Bob was still here. He
Yeah.
knew how to handle this shit. We don't know how
Yeah.
to. But you don't hear the VPs or the CEOs say, I wish Bob was still here. No, we're glad Bob's gone because we were paying him $500,000 a year.
Right.
I was able to hire 4
It all
other
works
people.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called running a business.
Yeah, it's called
Sometimes
running
you need to make business decisions. So cool. Well, thanks for joining us
Yeah.
today, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I hope we were able to bring some value to your day.
We're just fun to be back in front of the camera because we haven't been doing lives.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're gonna see us again
you're
soon.
gonna see a lot more of us.
If you
and
have
I
a
apologize in
request,
advance.
if you have a request of topic, drop it in the.
Or if you want to get on the show with us,
Yeah.
if you want to be
Or if
here
you wanna
live,
join us
we'll
for a
bring you in.
conversation, we'll bring you in. But if you have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, let us know what
I
that
have to
is.
also mention.
Yes.
Hopefully this came out all right. We haven't heard a lot of feedback, but we have all new equipment, and that was just by necessity. I've got new mics. I've got
a new laptop.
new laptops, new lighting, everything's new.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it's
New
kind of funny. Like
shirt.
the shirt, the hat. I got hats that have advanced team. If you want some of
Oh,
those,
good.
hit me up, and I can put a link together. Put this down. Anyway,
Thanks
you.
for joining us. Mwah. Make it a great day.
That's the end.
Is that the end?